First of all, thank you very much for accepting our interview request, because I know that you are very short with time. Hollywood is a sparkling world, and actually you were almost born into that world. But now you are getting involved with the real world and with the most harsh side of it, actually. So how did transition happen for you? And you lived everything in front of cameras. We know that you have been through really, really hard times. So can we say that you found a way of healing yourself by healing others?
For the first part, I wasn't born into that life. I was born into a very tumultuous relationship with my parents, on my own accord, by my own choice. My parents kept me in school. But I started working in charity when I was very young. My father, when I was young, and my mother always had me work with this foundation called Dreams Foundation and Save the Children. And I would go, and they said, if you're going to go to this movie, then you're going to go to a hospital. Because if the children have seen your movie, you're going to go and get back. My grandfather started St. Vincent de Paul in America and was in World War II. He's an Irishman. God rest his soul, he's passed. But my whole family's been in charity my whole life. So this has been a common thread throughout my life and my bloodstream. And I think, when you're living in LA and this is your life and your story, and I'm from New York and people forget that, you go back home, you change your life. I became very involved with, meditation, Deepak Chopra, transcendental meditation. This became a very big ritual of my life. So I took the time to kind of take out and weed out the bad and only keep the good. Then I moved to London because New York was too fast for me, because I slowed down and it kept going and I couldn't keep up and I wasn't meant to. Moving to London was the best thing I've done for myself. And I think as you grow up, life changes and you experience new things. In London, I was able to take myself outside of whatever my family was doing and the people that I had in my life that maybe weren't the best people for me. Or maybe it was my fault. I can't say that because it's in the past. But in London, I was able to sit alone and say, what is it that I want in life? Okay, I love working with kids. I love giving back to people, and whether I do a movie or not, I want it to be a true story about someone's life that has occurred so people can actually see real things. Because I've done all these Disney movies and these are not real things, as much as I love it and I appreciate it, and I would love to play the Little Mermaid one day, I want to talk about real things right now. I'm 30 years old, and life is only going to keep going, and I want it to go in the right way, and I want to be able to control my life as I live it day by day. So that's kind of how this all came to happen. I came here for a work obligation for parents to meet someone, and I said, you know what, I feel like I should stay. And it happened. And I stayed, and my friend contacted Abdurrahim, and he contacted two other friends of mine who worked for Bosphorus Foundation, and we all got together, and it just happened. And this is the will of, our higher being. And everything happens for a reason. I left, I came back, my finger got hurt, I couldn't leave. I had to stay.
So maybe it had a reason that you didn't know.
But that happening to me was like an eye-opening experience, because everybody said, well, should we stop? We'll postpone everything. And my first thought was, are you kidding me? Why would I stop? Why would you stop? Because my fingers hurt when someone had their legs blown off. No, this is exactly what people do, and that's exactly not who I am. So let's figure it out. I'll ask friends if I can stay at their place. I will stay here. It was very, direct conversations, friends helping friends and other people, pretty much. And it's continued to remain that way. This is a very unexpected experience, and hopefully it will awaken others to kind of try and do something. I know a lot of people are scared because of what we see, and seeing is believing. But if believing is seeing, then how do you know it's even true, until you experience it.
And how did first refugee crisis took your attention? Was there a moment, or was it a picture, was it a story, or was it some face that you have seen?
A lot of it was around when the coup happened. Just seeing the whole country stand up for each other. That was really emotional for me, that all these people in one place that people are so afraid of are all supporting one another. And that's a really powerful, strong front, I think. And Erdogan did very well, and his people really admiring and respecting him as, the first elected president. This is a big deal, and that goes to show something. And in London, I don't watch social media. you know, in London we have like news and Bloomberg all day. So this is what's on my TV. I don't have like Access Hollywood and all these other shows, and I don't see this anymore. For 4 years now, I don't see this, and I love it. So it's when people notice, like, see on the street anywhere, in London, they just keep walking. It's old news. I love it. This is great for me. Here, when I went to a restaurant, there's a million paparazzi. I'm like, I can't breathe. I panic because I'm not used to that anymore. And that's the past, you know. And I don't want. It's very easy for me to go to a refugee camp and say, oh, she's getting paid. She's doing it for this. She just wants attention. No, that is absolutely not the truth. That is why we went, and then we did it, and then we told everybody. Everything that I've done here, we do it first, and then we talk about it. Because I can't speak on something I haven't lived through and experienced. It's not my place. And that's what we will continue to do with helping these people. And hopefully others will try and do it, not for the wrong reasons, but for the right ones.
And your picture with headscarf, it's all around these days. People are talking about it. And it was the same thing with your picture carrying Quran, actually.
In America, I was going through a lot with past things that had happened to me over a 10-year span. And my very close friends who have been there for me a lot in London are Saudi, and they gave me Quran. And I brought it to New York because I was learning, and it opened doors for me to experience and spiritually to find another, you know, true meaning. And this is who I am. But this is just me holding it with me, walking, going. Whereas the paparazzi maybe across the street, I didn't know. And they crucified me for it in America. They made me seem like Satan. I was a bad person for holding that Quran. And I was so happy to leave and go back to London after that, because I felt so unsafe in my own country after this. I mean, people were like horrible to me. And just because this is my belief, if this is something I want to learn, this is my own will. This is not for you to express. If you want to say it, keep it to yourself. I'm not looking at what you do every day. Maybe you're not doing enough because you're bored hurting me. But I can't imagine how many people go through this all the time. And that made me feel like an outsider. So I understand why you know, the Turkish people are upset, because they live in a great, beautiful place. And I understand why women that wear headscarves are looked at differently, because I felt like that. So when I was in Antep, she put that headscarf on me, I felt really honored because of that. Because she went out of her own way to allow me to be part of her culture. And she didn't have to do that. You know, I was a stranger to her. And I merely said I really liked the color of her headscarf, and she gave it to me. And maybe she only has 2, and she gave me 1. There's more to that story that occurs. And I said, you know what? Because this woman took the time to give me this, and a part of herself, not even knowing me, I'm not taking it off. And my first thought, and I said to my good friend Hilal, I said, but it scares me because people are going to look at the headscarf and only talk about that. Yeah. They're not going to ask the real questions about why. Because that's not interesting.
It will become headlines suddenly, right?
You know, and it should. It should. It should be headlines. It's okay, because in Turkey you have a free will as a woman if you want to or you don't want to. That's why it's amazing here. You can choose what you want and it's accepted. Whereas I'm in America holding a Quran and I'm the devil. No, you have to acknowledge the good parts of a place where we think is so bad. You know, people think it's so dangerous. It's like we're sitting in a really nice place, and we're very lucky to even be here. Yeah. So it's about time we start, you know, recognizing the truth and doing something.